When do I?
You go ahead and start. Speak up.
Good morning, everyone, and today I will be giving you a presentation about the history of gunpowder with a little bit of chemistry. And let's start.
Wait. Sorry. Get your slides ready. I'll fix it. You gotta do this. There now.
In this presentation, we will be talking about what is gunpowder.
Louder.
In this presentation, we'll be talking about what is gunpowder, its early history, the cannon, its arrival in Europe, how it played a key role in the fall of Constantinople, the musket, the rifle, the pistol, the machine gun, and then I will be giving my conclusion about gunpowder. So without further ado, let's begin. Wait, what on earth is gunpowder? Gunpowder is a mixture, which means that the components that make it up can be divided up physically. It is made of sulfur, which is yellow and stinky and is an element. Charcoal, which you probably use for barbecue, is also an element in the form of carbon. And potassium nitrate, aka saltpeter, which is a compound. So it's basically element plus compound equals the mixture that is gunpowder. And if you really want to, you can divide this up by physical means. Now it's history time. Early history. Gunpowder was first invented in China during the Tang Dynasty in the 9th century, and this is what China looked like at that time. And because Chinese chemists were trying to find the serum for eternal life. But once they drank it, they found out immediately that it was the opposite of what they wanted. It killed them instantly. Originally, however, it didn't explode. It was just really flammable, but you still didn't want to have it in your house. But then they mixed it with the right portions and put it in containers. And those two factors made the powder explosive. They used it in fireworks to ward off evil and defend against the Mongol hordes during the 13th century, and is also referred to as black powder. There's a shock. Cannon. The cannon was invented in China during the Southern Song Dynasty in the 13th century, and this is what China looked like at that time. However, they used it to defend against the Mongol hordes when they would come down on their horses. And then once the Mongols took over China, they spread the use of the cannon, and then the Europeans went on to introduce the cannon to the Americas. And then these are some examples of cannons. Arrival in Europe. The Mongols eventually defeated China with their horses and got the formula for gunpowder. And then they traded it, and eventually it arrived in Europe around the year 1260. And this is what the Mongol Empire would have looked like at that time, gigantic. And then this is an example of what the Mongols did with gunpowder. Fall of Constantinople. In 1453, the Byzantine Empire, aka the remnants of the Roman Empire, was besieged by Mehmed II, the Ottoman Sultan. But you may wonder, wait a minute, where's the Byzantine Empire? I just see the Ottoman Empire. Well, the Byzantines were this little speck right here in the small town of Constantinople, aka Istanbul in today's terms, and was surrounded by the Ottoman Empire. Mehmed brought with him an army and catapults that was the standard for the time, and to the Byzantines, a weird metal tube. That was a cannon, a huge cannon. And it's not necessarily a cannon in today's terms, but they did fire cannonballs out of it, so I guess it was a cannon. However, the Byzantines sadly had no gunpowder. They had no idea what it was, and this partly led to the fall of the Roman Empire once and for all, and why 1453 went down in the history books. Sorry, Odoacer, you couldn't do it all. The musket. In the 16th century, a muzzle-loaded gun was created in Spain, which at that time was in a union with Portugal because of weird royal marriages, and it was called the Iberian Union. It was called the musket. To fire a musket, put in gunpowder and then a piece of cloth to push the gunpowder down and then a musket ball. When the trigger is pulled, the gunpowder ignites, pushing the cloth and ball out of the musket. This is an example of a musket, and then this is an example of a musket ball. Muskets were used in Europe and the European New World colonies in the Americas, which gave them an advantage against the natives apart from disease and, of course, cannons. And musket balls are made from lead because lead has a very low melting point, which made it easy to mold. And basically, musket ball, for every single small weapon, there's a ball that's just called different. Just keep that in mind. The rifle. Now, a rifle in historical terms is like the musket, a muzzle-loaded gun that was created in Italy in the 15th century. And this is what Italy would have looked like at that time, divided into all the separate states. However, though created in the 15th century, rifles were not that popular. However, in the 19th century, it was found out that they had better range than muskets. And one of the best examples of rifle beating musket is in 1835, when the Texians won the Battle of Concepcion because they were well sheltered and their rifles could fire farther than the Mexican muskets. And of course, rifles have been altered since then, but this is a standard rifle versus a musket. The pistol. The pistol was created as a handgun in Italy in the 15th century, in the late 15th century, and is named after the town it was invented in Pistoia, Italy, which is in modern-day Tuscany in Italy and is not that far from Florence. The oldest pistol is the single-shot pistol, but it took a very long time to reload. However, after the revolver was created in the 19th century, pistols became more and more popular because they had faster reload times. In 1865, John Wilkes Booth used a pistol to assassinate Abraham Lincoln, and pistols went on to become the most popular firearm by today. The machine gun. The machine gun was invented in Austria by American inventor Hiram Maxim in 1884 and was basically a ripoff of the U.S. Navy's existing Gatling gun. However, the key difference is that a Gatling gun is in the same form as a cannon, except it had revolving tubes to fire bullets out. But the machine gun you would mount. The machine gun had more than one hole to put bullets in, which made it better than muskets, which had by this point basically died out, and rifles. During World War I, the Germans used machine guns on both fronts in the trenches and against the Russians. However, both sides ended up using machine guns. And then during World War II, the Allies used the type of machine gun called BAR, all capitals. I don't know what it stands for though. Conclusion. In conclusion, gunpowder changed history. The Chinese inventors did not find a substance for eternal life, but boy, did they find the substance for a short life. They used gunpowder in muskets, rifles, cannons, pistols, and the machine gun, and is still used today. Next time, if I ever come back, I will be discussing TNT.